passage to read, it's the story of each of us. It's the story of the soul. Just as the Festival of Light is the story of the soul's long journey through time and space. That journey is what each of us is on in our unique way. I remember when I was a child, I had a peculiar conversation one day with my mother. She was lamenting the state of the world, and she was saying, "I don't think the world has ever been in a worse state than it is now." And just as a child, sometimes we know more than we consciously know. And I don't know where this came from, but this deep conviction welled up in my heart, and I said to her, "Mom, it's always been like this." She looked at me. Where did this kid come from? Anyway. But it's the truth. The world is the world. As the scriptures tell us, human life in this world is always uncertain and unstable, like a drop of water in a lotus leaf. And the scriptures are not there to scare us. They're there to motivate us to go within, find the permanence you are looking for, find the security, the calmness, the joy, the love that you are looking for, not outside in the world, but inside. We were flying back from the Hawaii retreat on Tuesday, Election Day. That was interesting. And I just saw a lot of fear. Saw a lot of fear in people's eyes. And the words of Babaji just kept going through my mind. "The darkness of Maya approaches. Let us hie homeward within." And that is the answer. That is what we have to do. Especially all of us who want higher values in our lives, who want higher consciousness, who want attunement with God. We have a duty. It's not just okay anymore to sit on the sidelines and, yeah, I kind of meditate if I'm not watching TV or something. We have a duty to be a beacon of light in this world, to face our tests with calmness and with trust in God. God is there. I've told this joke before, but I just love this joke, and it came into my mind today. So we're at the theological seminary in the cafeteria line. And at the front of the line, there's a bowl with apples, beautiful red apples. And there's a nicely calligraphied line, a little sign there that says, "Please take just one apple per person. Remember, God is watching." And then you go through the line. At the end of the line, there's a plate of chocolate chip cookies. And there's a hastily scrawled note that says, "Take as many cookies as you want. God's back watching the apples." And we know God sees both the plate of cookies and the bowl of apples, don't we? That's why it's funny. We know He's there. So, where is He? Is He in each of us? Is He in everyone? Is he watching everything? Ananda Ma said, "He who made the world, don't you think he knows how to take care of it?" We get scared. We think, oh, what's going to happen? Will I be all right? Will I be out on the street? Will I be starving? Will I be hurt somehow? Give no thought for the morrow. Trust in God now. Not a sparrow falls without his sight. But he is counting on us. He is counting on us to go deep. This is a wake-up call. All the hatred, the fear, the polarization that's happened in our country, all the uncertainty, all the anxiety. Don't get caught in that. Don't even watch the news for a little while, because it's going to be full of that for quite a little while. Instead, take that time, deepen your meditation. If you haven't learned Kriya Yoga yet, for heaven's sake, for God's sake, learn Kriya Yoga. If you're practicing, go deeper in your practice. Tune into God. Swami would often tell this story of World War II when the first atomic bombs were dropped on those Japanese cities. Right in the heart of where they were dropped, there were people who were safe. Monks who loved God. They were safe. You can look it up on the internet if you don't believe me. But we can be protected, we can be safe no matter what happens. As Yogananda said, the only bomb shelter is the spine. That's the purpose of Kriya Yoga, is to eliminate that outward magnetism that always draws us out like the prodigal son. Master said the meaning of that parable is that we left our home in our spiritual center. We were lured out, he said, by the false glamour of the material world. We were lured out through the doors of the senses. And we squandered our inner peace through sense pleasures until we became so miserable, so unfulfilled, so full of misery and sorrow that we decided we have to go back home. And is that a long voyage? Is it a long flight? No. It's just turning the attention from outwardness back inside. And when we do, our Father is moved with compassion and falls upon our neck and kisses us. Puts a ring on our finger, and the best robe is wrapped around us. God is waiting for us. We think, oh, I meditate every day and he hasn't come yet. Well, we've been running away for a long time. He wants to make sure that we're serious, that we're really coming back, that we're not just going to be lured off again. He wants to know that we really love him. So let's be more steadfast. Let's take this as a challenge to be more courageous, more filled with light, and be a beacon of peace and harmony in this world. Get rid of your anger. Get rid of your resentments. There just isn't time for that anymore. Be one with God. Be in joy, and everything will be fine.
struck in reading this, also this parable, by that sense that we've all been there, we've all gone out, we've all gone away from center, and we do it with all the best intentions in the world, perhaps. And it's very easy to feel so guilty, like the son coming back, and he, heartfully says, "I'm not worthy to be called your son anymore." And of course we read the heartwarming response of God that Nirmala quoted for us. But all of us have done that because we've gone and played in Maya. And in a sense, that's why we're here at all in the first place. It's to have the chance, if we want to. I had a strange incident in my life as a child, and my parents were going to Las Vegas and for a business conference, but of course it's Las Vegas, so you're going to have a chance to play at the gambling tables. And I gave my parents a quarter, and I told them to go to the second slot machine from the right and put the quarter in. Darned if that thing didn't win. It won, I don't know, $6 or something. And, I remember, it was like, wow, it won, oh boy. There was this sense of elation, oh my goodness. But I came to realize, my dad took me to Las Vegas once when I was a teenager, kind of as his way of, introducing me to the things of the world or something right before college. And I remember coming away from that experience. It took a little time for it to kind of sink in, because it's not called the city of broken dreams for nothing. But what struck me is that if you have the desire to get something for nothing, you've already lost before you walk in the door. Just to go in the door with that expectation, you've already lost. And that's partly the message from the Bhagavad Gita, or actually from the Mahabharata, from which the Gita is taken. Yudhishthira gambles away his kingdom. It's a similar kind of story. He plays the game and loses every single time. And it's one of the great mysteries of that story and that scripture. Why does he do it? He's the king of righteousness. He's the king of duty. And yet he gambles away the whole kingdom. He gambles away his brothers, his wife, everybody, the whole thing. It's all gone. It's all gambled away. And we all, in a sense, have done the very same thing. We've all lost all of it. And we have to make our way back. And we think, I'm bereft. I have nothing. And yet we come back to the kingdom, and the Father greets us, and we have everything. We have infinity. And so all of us, I want to just sort of segue onto what Nirmala was saying, because whether you're and in case anybody didn't notice, there was this election last week, and it was, whether you're going, oh, yes, or whether you're going, oh, God, or kind of going, well, gee, c'est la vie, whatever, it all just, life flows on like a river. I want to just add to what she said, that we have a duty, and when we have a culture that is polarized, it doesn't matter who wins in one sense, because that polarization is still there until the work is done to bring a sense of harmony. That sense of harmony is not easily won. We live in a free country. I don't know if in your experience, that term, as a child, I remember we would lob that at each other. Well, it's a free country. I can say what I want. I can sort of, I grew up with a twin sister. And you could say politely that we occupied opposite sides of the aisle, even though we knew nothing about politics as children. She was good. I was different, shall we say. I explored the alternatives. And, we would sometimes we would say that to each other. Well, it's a free country. I can do what I want. Well, yeah, but freedom isn't free. Freedom takes responsibility. Freedom takes energy. Freedom takes the willingness to learn. Freedom takes the willingness to be wrong and to learn from the experience. And all of us have, in one way or another, taken a position. It's sort of amusing to me, in a way, to think we've lived in other places out of this country, and they have very different political systems. I'm sort of amused in a way to think that there's one aisle and there's one side of the aisle and there's the other side of the aisle, because in other countries there's about 27 aisles, and whichever position you find yourself in, Italy, I remember hearing, it was averaging roughly one government per year after the Second World War, for a long, long time. 50-something governments had gone by the time I spent time over there. And, and life, it didn't make the darndest bit of difference in Italy. Life went on. Mama served pasta at lunch. It was all good. It was just like, who cares? Yeah, there's somebody down there in Rome and they're doing whatever they're doing. And of course, there'd be a lot of chatter about it, but, life went on. And weird coalitions would come together to form a government. And, people had all sorts of different persuasions. But irrespective of all the outward drama, all the show. Sometimes I think this country has this weird disease that only comes around about every 4 years or so. And, for a period of months, there's all this commotion, and then it finishes, and, the fever goes down, and life goes on again. But I just want to re-echo what Nirmala said. There has never been a better time to love God than right now. There has never been a better time to learn, to go within, to explore the inner world, and to do the work, to share the responsibility that having that kind of awakening brings upon us. Because we have to share it, we have to help. And you may think, you may look in the mirror in the morning, or you may look in the mirror of introspection after your meditation and say, well, what the heck do I have to share? My meditations aren't any good, or I've hardly realized anything. You have realized something. You at least have the desire for God. We all at least have some desire for awakening. Whatever we have gained from that experience, we have a duty to share it. And it doesn't mean we have to go around clouding people over the head with spiritual books and saying, you have to learn how to meditate. No, we just have to live the life of the peace that we've gained. Whatever we get, we have to share. It's a duty. It doesn't stay. Blessings that are given are not given for us personally to sort of own and hoard and, hang on to with white knuckles. We have to freely give whatever God gives us to share. And there's no loss in that. There's no sense of, but if I give it away, I won't have it anymore. No, you'll actually have a lot more. What you give, more will be given to follow. So know that, as Nirmala said, God has this all well in hand, but we are here to act as God's instruments. And that is a job. That is a job, because it takes understanding, it takes compassion, it takes an openness of heart and mind to say, I don't know. I was reading something recently. This was someone at one of the huge computer corporations. I think it was Google, but I'm not positive. But interviewing people to be hired, he realized, he could figure out within a minute or two whether he would hire this person. And he still had to sort of go through a certain process, but he would ask people, tell me something I don't know. That was his sort of response. I want to learn something from you. You have an experience that I don't have. Teach me something. Tell me something that I don't know. We can do that for Divine Mother, with Divine Mother, every single time we sit to meditate. Divine Mother, teach me something that I don't know. Even if I've been meditating for 30, 40, 50 years, there's still an awful lot that I don't know. Show me. Help me. Help me to give whatever I have. Mainly to give peace. Mainly to give harmony. Mainly to share support and love. Whatever situation people are in, that's the need of the hour. And the hubbub will die down, life will move on. It's the same story, it's been the same story for a long, long time. On this trip that we were on, we were doing sadhanas morning and evening most of the time, except for one fine day came the 7th game of the World Series. And I'm not normally a baseball fan, but I grew up in Chicago, and the Cubs hadn't won for 108 years, and I thought, it's 108 years. That's a good number, 108. I'm going to watch this game. And it was a spectacular game. I mean, it went extra innings, and for those who don't follow baseball, that's like overtime. That's like, it's really long. Only 5 times has a Game 7 gone into extra innings. I mean, it was a big deal. It was a great game, and the Cubs won. Oh, boy. Well, what if I was a Cleveland fan? What if, they hadn't won in 68 years, It's a long time, right? Somebody was going to be unhappy. I guess that's the thing that really struck me. When you have one winner and one loser, or everybody else is a loser, somebody will be happy and everybody else will be not happy. That's not a nice... I remember I used to play volleyball, and there came a point where I just got sick and tired of all this excitement for winning and all this disappointment and angst for losing. And it's like, I wanted to enjoy the process. Well, I enjoyed the game. And if they had won, great. If they had lost, fine. We have to sooner or later view life from a mountaintop perspective, long, long view, and say, it all keeps moving along. Let me find the joy that God wants to give in my heart. Let me find that joy, and then let me share it in some way that people can receive. Not by force, just by in the same way that a rose offers a beautiful scent when you walk by. We have these incredible roses on the path that leads up to our front door, and there's a certain one that's kind of peach colored that, boy, when those roses come, you just have to stop. There's just no help for it. They are so incredible. But there are flowers of beauty all around us. And I don't just mean the little flowers that grow on plants. There are flowers of lovely sentiment, just like Master was expressing in this Whisper from Eternity. Let us be the manifestations of those lovely qualities to everyone in this world, and even beyond this world. Did you ever notice we get very world-centric? We've often quoted, nobody gets off the planet alive. Well, technically they do, because there's guys going around the space station up there every 90 minutes or so. But, we spend an awful lot of time thinking about this world. Well, what about all the other ones? Recently, I don't know if anybody tuned into this, but it used to be said that they estimated there were 100 trillion galaxies. No, 100 100 billion. Okay, 100 billion. 100 billion galaxies. And of course, each galaxy has a zillion stars in it. Well, now, just few weeks ago, research showed that there are actually 1 trillion galaxies, 10 times as many as were previously thought. That's, factor of 10. I mean, how accurate is this? 1 trillion galaxies. That's a lot of galaxies. There's a lot of space out there. There's an awful lot of whatever out there that we don't even know. We get real caught up in the drama that's going on right here on this planet. Let's step away from it once in a while, like twice a day for at least a few minutes in meditation. Step away from the drama. Step away from the drama, madam. Step away from the drama. And just feel God's presence within and around us, and share that presence with others, because great blessing will come. This chant that we sang, let nothing disturb you, nothing affright you, all things will pass, but God changes not. Patient endurance brings us to victory. Once you have God, you'll want nothing more. Does not mean that you'll want nothing more because you'll have nothing. It means you'll want nothing more because you have everything. You have the entire universe. It's all yours. Your stance is as big as the universe. Nothing can shake you off of it. Let us find that in deep meditation and share it with all.